Hi there, my name is Darren Loggy, and in today's video, I will be discussing the recent technological advent of lethal autonomous weapon systems. This presentation will begin by analyzing what exactly constitutes a lethal autonomous weapon system, and later examine the response of various states to the advent of this technology. It is also worth noting that this presentation was made in coordination with VideoGen, a generative AI tool that sorts through various collections of stock footage to create optimal video presentations based off of a textual prompt. If my commentary today seems a little bit rushed compared to my other presentations, this is because I am trying to keep time with the video that the AI tool has created for me. But without further ado, please enjoy the presentation. To begin, I think it goes without saying that The Terminator is widely regarded as the most impactful and praised depiction of killer robots within the United States. Even though the cultural impact of sci-fi movies on political discourse over time is worth examining, American policymakers and AI experts have actually tried to dissuade the public from associating the development of lethal autonomous weapon systems with Terminator-esque narratives. So in reality, what is a lethal autonomous weapon system? While the definition differs from country to country, a solid one comes from Bonnie Doherty, a researcher at the Human Rights Watch, who states that autonomous weapon systems are systems that choose a target and fire on it based on sensor inputs rather than human inputs. With this definition in mind, it's plain to see that autonomous weapon systems have existed for years, just with constraints. In modern times, though, sweeping innovations in technology are allowing for such systems to operate without meaningful human control. Modern lethal autonomous weapon systems can fulfill a variety of state needs, but generally speaking, these devices are best suited for achieving superhuman accuracy in battle, protecting civilians as well as other humans, and otherwise carrying out the choices of human decision makers. Recent examples include AI-powered recon drones used by the US in the Russia-Ukraine war, while less advanced autonomous weapon systems, such as loitering munitions, have been in use since the late 20th century. Innovations within the field have become so staggering that the advent of lethal autonomous weapon systems is becoming known as the third revolution in warfare after gunpowder and nuclear weapons. When conceptualizing war, morality is frequently intertwined with human emotions. The emotionless, unfeeling nature of lethal autonomous weapon systems raises questions about how the future of war will be looked upon, morally speaking. The deployment of autonomous weapon systems also creates a dangerous situation in terms of algorithmic bias, especially when creating distinctions between targets and civilians. Alarmingly, many contemporary AI systems are still unable to differentiate a person holding a stick from a person holding a gun. Making use of explainable, traceable, and transparent AI will be key to effectively developing autonomous weapon systems. While states should actively work to make their autonomous weapon systems compact and stealthy, it will also be vital for those same states to evenly develop their detection methods for similarly advanced foreign autonomous weapon systems. While regulations and bans of weapons usually occur after they've been in circulation for a while, lethal autonomous weapon systems are facing a unique legislative initiative before they've even been deployed. In fact, annual meetings of state representatives concerned about regulating lethal autonomous weapon systems have been occurring since 2013, but the nature of the technology requires decisions to be constantly reevaluated. On the other hand, increasing attendance at such meetings, including a prevalent number of representatives from countries in the global south, give us reason to be optimistic about the future of these discussions. When it comes to actual legislation, though, there is significant variance between countries. While appeals, talks, and proposed treaties for autonomous weapon systems have taken place, international regulations have largely been fruitless because of the UN's consensus-based approach. Even though the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons adopted 11 guiding principles for lethal autonomous weapon systems in 2019, and both the European Parliament and Human Rights Watch have made notable progress on an outright ban of the systems, disagreement within the EU is still evident. In the US specifically, though, state initiatives for autonomous weapon systems place a high level of importance on human oversight and keeping pace with China. When discussing international legislation for lethal autonomous weapon systems, countries typically fall into three groups. The first group is made up of countries that support an international ban on lethal autonomous weapon systems. Countries such as the Netherlands and Sweden are a part of this group, which also includes most South American states and a handful of countries in Africa. The second and largest group consists of countries that have vocally aligned themselves with international ideals concerning autonomous weapon systems, but have done little in terms of actual legislation. Not surprisingly, the US falls into this category, along with several other larger states, such as France and Germany. The reason for these states adopting framework that isn't legally binding is likely because they themselves are developing their arsenal of autonomous weapon systems and don't want to abandon them down the road. An exemplary instance of this occurring is in China, a state which seeks to ban the deployment of lethal autonomous weapon systems while keeping their development legal. Finally, the third group is made up of states that plainly oppose bans and international regulations on autonomous weapon systems. Once again, the countries that make up this group aren't entirely surprising, with Russia, Israel, and Turkey amongst its ranks. Alongside Russia, the United States is actually one of the biggest proponents of developing lethal autonomous weapon systems, with both countries incentivized to deem bans premature in the name of minimizing human casualties. A lot of the pushback on a ban also has to do with the lack of a widely accepted definition of what constitutes a lethal autonomous weapon system. One evident trend across the international community, though, is that states are beginning to apply pre-existing ethical frameworks for artificial intelligence to their development of autonomous weapon systems. These frameworks would seek to bring principles such as transparency, human alternatives, and anti-discrimination protections to their arsenals. Furthermore, these efforts are placing a special emphasis on human involvement in weapon systems with the ability to function autonomously. The ambition displayed by many world leaders in an effort to keep humans in the loop regarding lethal autonomous weapon systems suggests that this is a principle which will be upheld in the future. However, I would like to end this video by circling back to the Terminator with a quote from its director, James Cameron. The Terminator is not really about the human race getting killed by future machines, but rather about us losing touch with our humanity and becoming machines, which allows us to kill and brutalize each other. Thank you so much for consuming this video. If anyone viewing this video has any additional interest in lethal autonomous weapon systems or the state responses to the technology, please feel free to take a look at these sources which I used in my video. I would highly recommend them. Otherwise, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your day.